Now, welcome to International Women's Day. We have women from all over the world.
Woo!
Hi, everyone.
I'm so excited about this session because we're going to be talking about various things women are doing in their lives that are helping others to move forward. And so we're going to be hearing their stories, their messages to help you take a step forward in your life. Maybe you're feeling a little bit down. Maybe you're feeling like things aren't going your way. But these women are going to share with you either tips, tricks, stories that are going to help you to take that next step, that first step that you need to take in order to move on with your life. My name is Linda Sunshine West. I'm the founder and CEO at Action Takers Publishing. Our mission is to empower 5 million women and men to share their stories with the world to make a greater impact on the planet. And this is one of the things that we do to do that, but also the book publishing, that is our main thing because we want to help you to get your message out there into the world. You can check us out at actiontakerspublishing.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with our first speaker of today. Go and unmute yourself, Laura. I'm going to spotlight you and I'm going to put 4 minutes on the clock. And I think you get a couple extra seconds, Laura, because I didn't set up the timer. So just start and go until you see that thing count down. That's all you, Laura.
Oh my gosh. Well, excuse me. Hi, I'm Laura, and I was married to a narcissist for 32 years without even realizing what narcissism was. And I want to share my story today of how I healed and how you can heal too. And at the end, I'm going to share 2 uplifting reflections that you can start applying to your life right now. So I didn't even know what emotional abuse was, narcissistic abuse, none of that, because I grew up in that time, like maybe some of you have, where unless you were being physically harmed, you weren't being abused. And so I didn't even know what it was. And I thought I had gotten a divorce for irreconcilable differences. And I started to understand during my healing what narcissism was and what had happened to me in my life. I saw a video that changed my life. And the reason it changed my life was because it validated my experience. I don't know if you've ever felt like that. Like when someone really understands your story and you feel seen and heard, as human beings, we have such a need to be seen and heard. And when I saw this video that told me what narcissism was, I was like, I feel seen and heard and understood. And it opened my eyes. And if you've ever been in abuse, you know that your relationship can be really confusing and maddening. And when we try to heal, we often are saying things that sound logical, like, why did they do that? Or I wouldn't have done that. Why did they do it? But narcissists have a disorder and they only think about themselves. And eventually I realize if they don't change, we have to decide what we're going to do. And so I've really started applying this into my life because that's what a healthy boundary sounds like. When people around us don't change, what are we going to do to change us and to change who is in our life? And so as I started healing, I was inspired by my own need to have a safe place to tell my story of abuse and give hope and healing to others. As soon as I found people talking about this, I felt again seen and heard. And I don't know if you've ever felt like that, where you just want somebody to hear your story. And I had such a deep need to share my story that I created a safe place for people to do that. And so I am all over social media talking about this. And I also have a podcast where I have women come on the show to talk about their story because I want people to understand what happened, recognize the patterns, learn how to set healthy boundaries, and learn how to love yourself again. Because when you've been in abuse, you know that that narcissist is always putting you down and really blowing your self-esteem away. And so I also help women dream again for the future because they don't ever let you dream. And so when I got out, I was like, I don't know what it means, but I need to dream again. And that could mean anything. Remember what you used to love when you were little, you know, painting or dancing or any of those things. It could be anything, but dreaming again for the future. And then I also like to use humor because it gets those good chemicals back into our brain. And so if you ever come follow me on social media, you'll see me making fun of all the narcissists. That's what I like to do. So I want to leave you with these two final thoughts. You are not alone. I've been where you are. I want you to know that you're never alone and that healing is always possible. And number two, your voice matters. Narcissists silence and belittle you, but your thoughts, opinions, and feelings are important. So go out and use your voice today because it matters. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. What a great message. Thank you so much for sharing that. What I find interesting about that is like that reminder that we have to remind ourselves to dream again.
Yes.
Right. It's like we lose track of that. I know for me, it took many, many years for me to realize that I lost my dream and then I had to find it again. So thank you so much for sharing that reminder and sharing your message of being seen and heard, that this opened your eyes, because really that sometimes is all we need, all we want, and all we need is to feel like we're important, we have value, and we are seen and we are heard. So thank you for sharing your message, Laura. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, that's awesome. Next up, we're going to bring up Evelynn. I'm bringing Evelynn up on the stage here. Evelynn, I'm going to put 4 minutes on the clock. It's your time to shine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Evelynn Jones. Friends and family call me Mimi. So I guess we're friends now. You can call me Mimi. And with that said, I mean, I'm just going to sit up here and just kind of talk to y'all about my journey thus far. I am coming to you from lovely San Diego, California. Background's blurred, but I'm by the beach at a wonderful cafe, Raglan Public House. Shout out to them. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. So again, my name is Evelynn, also known as Mimi. I'm Evelynn with two N's, Mimi J, Mimijae on all social media platforms. And my story is interesting, to say the least. For one, the one thing that I am leading with this year is the fact that I went from homeless to hackathon winner in less than a year. So let me just start there. I currently live in San Diego, California. I am born and raised. I'm a native. I went to school at Sacramento State University, Alliant International University. But then in 2018, I moved. I wanted to explore outside of California, get out of my bubble per se. California is its own world. Lived in Phoenix in 2018, from 2018 to 2021, and then in Houston from 2021 to 2023. That was interesting because I wanted to get out of Phoenix. I thought it was time to go, but also too, like I met someone online and I went to go visit them. And I was like, you know what? I like this person. I was actually on my headed to Atlanta, but then I landed in Houston. So then a series of unfortunate events happened, including with this person. We had a breakup, and that breakup wasn't so great, even though I tried my very damnedest to make sure that it didn't go left. It went left anyway. That's kind of what life does. So it went left. I went right. I came back out here after being homeless, just for a little bit in Houston. Luckily, I had a Planet Fitness membership because that was the only way I could probably sleep for maybe 1 or 2 hours a night. Just kind of in the massage chairs when I wasn't supposed to, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and then shower. Anyways, fast forward. One of my really good friends' mom decided to take me in. She is now my godmother. I'm back out here in San Diego, California, and when she took me in November 2023, I hit the ground running. I started going back to school for cybersecurity. I attend the University of Advanced Technology, and my major is network security. I've always been a tech geek. I've always been a tech girl. Took apart a compact stereo when I was a kid and put it back together, despite my mom telling me not to do so. But I'm also kind of hard-headed too. Anyways, so hopefully what you take from my story is, I went from being homeless in Houston to winning a hackathon. I also study and and am enthralled in blockchain technology. So I came up with an idea and then decided to code that idea, went on to raise funds for that idea. So now I'm also a founder as well. So with that said, anything is possible. And that is literally just the tip of the iceberg with my story. So if you want to know more about me, again, Evelynn Mimi J on all socials, EVELYNN MIMIJAE. And I hope that you can see from my story that anything is possible. You know, someone who's been homeless, had struggles, and now I'm here.
Fantastic. And thank you for being here and sharing your message and your story. This goes to show, again, like we had some other speakers earlier, there's unexpected situations that happen in our lives, but that doesn't define everything that we're doing. That's not saying that that's who we're going to be for the rest of our lives. We're able to turn that around. And you did just that. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Truly appreciate you being here on International Women's Day. Thank you so much. Oh man, such a good story. And I'm so glad she was able to, turn it around and come out of that. Next up, we're going to bring our next speaker, who is Victoria. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Victoria. I'm going to add you to the spotlight here and looking forward to hearing what you have to share. I'm going to disappear and the clock is yours, Victoria.
Hi, thanks, Linda. And thank all of you. And so excited to be here on International Women's Day. One of the things that you may be hearing that's kind of a consistent message, and that has been brought up a couple of times by participants in these webinars, is the concept of fear. And what I thought I would do first is give you an acronym to see if this helps you reframe what fear does to us. So we look at fear and we go, oh, this is something I have to overcome. But what if fear really is false evidence appearing real? It's false. It's not real. And it is just not real. And knowing that it isn't real, maybe that diminishes the power that fear has over us. And for me, there have been a lot of times in my life where I thought, oh, I really can't do this because it might risk my kids, it might risk my job, it might risk the next thing that I have going. I don't have everything planned out. People who know me know I like to have a plan and work my plan. If I don't have a plan, I get a little bit stuck. And one of the things that I did very late in my career is I took a huge leap and enrolled myself in a doctoral program. I can tell you for certain, being in a PhD program is not for the faint of heart. No matter what time in your life you begin it. I started mine at 57. I am always the most senior member of any class that I am in. That's okay. I enjoy it. And for me, I had to get over all those falsehoods. I'm too old. This is too hard. It takes up too much of my time. I'm an executive in a global tech corporation, so I really have to budget my time. But all of those things, all of those false evidences can make you stop and say, I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to go on. I shouldn't start this. I shouldn't take the next step. One of the things that inspires me every year on International Women's Day is what UN Women puts out as the theme for the year. And the theme for this year is accelerate action. And when I think about accelerating action, that doesn't mean you have to take 20 steps. It means you have to take one step today, right now, another step tomorrow, and another step the next day. And making sure that the one thing that does not slow us down, the one thing that doesn't get in our way, is fear. So I want to finish with one other thought, which is really about having a growth mindset. And some of you may know the work of Carol Dweck and in having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. We tend to get stuck sometimes in a fixed mindset, again, it is false. I can't do this because I don't have the resources, I don't have the network, I don't have the ability, I don't have the time, I don't. And we have to remember that all of that is false. It is fear. To have a growth mindset says, I may not have everything worked out, but I'm investing in myself. I'm investing in my growth. I will take the first step and then I'll figure out the next step. For people who are planners like me, this is a huge challenge. But the way I've gotten through this, and I am now all but dissertation in the final stages of my dissertation, about to do my research study and write, it's growth mindset that got me there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, definitely that fear, and it's never too late to start. I mean, you started something very later in life compared to a lot of people, but not letting that stop you. You're taking one step today, right now. Take one step today, right now. What is it that you need to do? Thanks for sharing your message. Truly appreciate you, Victoria. Thank you for being here on International Women's Day.
Thanks, Linda.
Wow, this is great. Like so far, we have some really great messages that are going on. We're talking about, fear. Fear is a topic that comes up a lot. Narcissism that creates fear within our relationships. Becoming homeless, like that's a fear. Like, I don't want to become homeless. How can I prevent myself from becoming homeless? It's a fear that comes up. And so then we're talking about fear of never too late to start something new. So I just want to share that you have a story to tell. As you're hearing the messages here today, there are stories here that they're telling, that are those stories that are getting from the one place to the next place. And you have that same story. If you are looking to share your story, maybe you want to just share a little bit of your story. We have collaboration books where you write just one chapter. You write one chapter, get your story written, and get your message out there into the world to make a greater impact on the planet. But it also works with you because you're getting your story out there. It helps you to make changes within your own life. And just writing your story down can be very cathartic. You can go to actiontakerspublishing.com/collab, COLLAB. That's actiontakerspublishing.com/collab. See what books that we have available for you today that you might want to take part in. So with that said, we're going to go to our next speaker, who is Eva. Eva, go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, where'd she go? There she is. Okay, Eva, I see you now.
I am here. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome. So I'm gonna go and disappear, and then you'll have 4 minutes on the clock. Eva, can't wait to hear what you have to share.
All right. Well, it's so nice to be here, and thank you for having us. And today I actually want to talk about the power of sisterhood. We are stronger together. But first, my name is Eva Krempa. I'm a mindset and success coach. I love to travel. I also do podcasts, something I never thought I would be doing, but this is where the journey has brought me. But today I actually want to read a little bit of a passage. So, every day, as we navigate through the intricate tapestry of human interactions, we are presented with a profound opportunity, the chance to ignite waves of positivity that reverberate far beyond the confines of our immediate presence. In these seemingly ordinary moments lies the extraordinary potential to sow seeds of kindness, compassion, and inspiration that can definitely ripple outwards, touching lives in ways we may never fully comprehend. So consider for a moment the gentle ripple effect created by the simple act of offering a genuine smile to a passing stranger. In that brief exchange, we may unknowingly uplift their spirits, maybe instill a sense of warmth and connection, and set into motion a chain reaction of goodwill that extends far beyond the initial encounter. What began as a fleeting gesture of kindness has the power to cascade through countless lives, spreading waves of joy and positivity to all who are touched by its gentle embrace. As stewards of this extraordinary power, we must remain vigilant in our commitment to channeling positivity and compassion into the world. Let us recognize the immense impact of our daily actions and attitude and strive to infuse each moment with the transformative power of kindness and empathy. In doing so, we not only enrich the lives of those we encounter, but also contribute to the collective tapestry of human experience, weaving a narrative of connection, understanding, and boundless possibility. And the reason I wanted to read this because it's actually from one of our Action Takers books. This is actually my chapter I wrote in The Ripple Effect of Impact. So it's a simple reminder that the power of sisterhood together, that we are stronger together. And when women support women, incredible things can happen. We are not in competition. We are a collective force. Today, let's make a vow to stand together on International Women's Day to celebrate each other and to remind every woman she is worthy, powerful, and capable. So that's my message today. I actually was like, what am I going to talk about? And that's one thing I really wanted to talk about, to stick together and to be that ripple effect in the world, because I personally believe it's needed more than ever. So that's my thought for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eva. There was something you said at the very beginning that really caught me. And that was, you said, I'm doing something I never thought I'd be doing. And this again goes to the previous speakers. Like Victoria said, take one step right now, because we don't know where that one step is going to take us. And you took steps previously that got you to where you are today, doing the work you're doing today, doing the traveling you're doing today, doing the writing that you're doing today, right? Taking all of those steps. And then we had Laura earlier, she talked about, being seen and being heard. Once we start showing up and we start being seen and being heard, opportunities are going to show in our lives. And just like, Evelynn mentioned, that there was something in life that life went left, but she went right? She took a step. So I love these stories, these messages, and how they all tie into each other. And it just goes to show how much alike we are, yet how vastly different we are. So Eva, thank you so much for sharing your message and sharing, the ripple effect of impact, which is one of the books that we did publish here at Action Takers Publishing. So thanks so much, Eva, for being here on International Women's Day.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Again, I'm loving how these stories, they do weave, one to the next to the next. It's really interesting. I'm taking my notes and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect for that, So it's really great to see all the messages tying in together. So we're going to bring up our next speaker is Marianne. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Marianne. Bring Marianne to the stage, and I'm going to disappear. Marianne, you have 4 minutes on the clock. Can't wait to hear what you have to share.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here today for International Women's Day. And the topic I like to talk about is our identity. We can either let our identity define us, or we can create our own identity and define who we want to be. Several years ago, my identity was that I was a wife. I was a special needs mom with 2 kids on the autism spectrum, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And so my identity became questioned when I was unexpectedly faced with divorce, and I had to figure out what to do and how to navigate that so that my kids and myself could have a good outcome and good result for the future. And so in that, I had to think about my old identity. Who was I before maybe I got married? And I had an MBA, I worked in corporate America, and I did a lot of things. And I was really good at projects and managing that either before marriage and also after marriage. And being a special needs mom, you have to manage a lot of things and advocate for your kids. And so I took my divorce process as an opportunity to advocate for myself and for my family to get a good result, which I'm glad to say that we did. Proud of where I was able to do what I was able to do to advocate for myself and for my family. But I decided that all the work that I put in, really, I wanted to help others do the same so that they didn't have to recreate the wheel. And so that's how I started my company for the first time. Once again, new identity. I started Special Family Transitions and became a special needs divorce coach. And so I'm honored now to be seen as a thought leader in the field and doing all these wonderful things. I'm now a speaker, an author, and things I never even imagined I would be doing. And so I want to let you know that you can create a new identity for yourself, for your family, and live a wonderful life. And so that's one of the things I teach in to my clients is I put together a system called RISE, R-I-S-E, where the first letter R stands for many things, but one of those is remembering who you are. And that was an important thing in my development, in my growth, getting through the divorce process as well as afterwards and helping others is we have to remember not just what we're doing now, but who we were maybe before we got married years ago when we didn't have maybe other responsibilities. Not that I regret anything that happened to me in my life, but we have to remember that we are capable of a lot, even though if we're going through a difficult divorce or a difficult time, we may struggle with really what we need to be doing and who we're doing it for. And so I would hopefully remind you all that you are capable of a lot of things, even though you may not have done those things in a while or maybe haven't done them yet. There is opportunity, as the other speakers have talked about, to look within yourself and grow in different ways, whether it's through trainings, whether it's connecting with other people who are inspiring to you. And that's one thing I did. I learned so much throughout my experience. I learned about different personality types and different ways that I could strengthen my abilities. And so I'm proud now that I can help others do the same.
Right. Awesome. Marianne, will you share the ISE with us?
Sure. So it's so the word rise had a lot of meaning for me because I like to rise above and have a positive impact and positive way of looking at things. But the R, in addition to remember who you are, is also recognize what you're going through. And I is for investigate and identify what it's going to take for you to be successful. For instance, with a special needs divorce, you have to identify what your kids are going to need in the future and how much that may cost. S can be also several different things like special considerations and self-care. And then E, the biggest one is embrace who you are, embrace the future, and how you express yourself. So that's a thing we can take away with whether we're going through a special needs divorce or any other kind of challenge in your life.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing your message. Identity, what is your identity? So I think a question here to ask yourself right now after you're hearing Marianne speak is, what is your identity? How are you showing up? Are you showing up however people expect you to, however people think you should be, or are you showing up as who you truly are? So something to really think about. And then rise above that. Remember who you are, investigate, identify, self-care. And I didn't get time to write down the E. What is the E?
Embrace the future that lays in front of you.
Embrace your future. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your message here on International Women's Day. Truly appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. This is so cool. Next up, we're going to bring up Yvonne. Let's see. I got to find you here. Here we go. Yvonne, welcome to the stage. Good to see you today. I'm going to disappear, and then I'm going to put 4 minutes on the clock. Can't wait till I hear what you have to say. And it's like my tongue is not working with my brain, but it will be ready when we come back. Okay. Yvonne, the floor is yours.
I was a struggling young producer in Hollywood, and nepotism reigns there. I could not get on a lot. I could not get a secretary to put me through to a boss for a pitch. And then I remembered that when I was a kid, there was a story that happened to me in the 4th grade in inner city Seattle where I was growing up. Because you see, Mrs. Rosa Parks and her team were putting together the opportunity for producers to pitch her on the right to make her movie for television. When I was in that 4th grade class in inner city Seattle, the teacher had a picture of Mrs. Rosa Parks up on the bulletin board. Underneath was the word courage. And that whole 4th grade year, I stared at that picture and thought about that story the teacher had told us of how this tired woman, this seamstress, got on a bus and was told, get up, give your seat to that white man. You're sitting in the white section. And with 3 simple words, she said, with dignity, no, I will not. And that action on her part ignited the civil rights movement across the world and changed history. One quiet woman. And so I wrote a letter to Mrs. Parks and I said, this is what happened to me in 4th grade, and I've admired you ever since. May I have an opportunity to pitch, even though I'm just a solo producer. I don't have huge credits behind me. And 3 weeks later, I got the opportunity and I showed up at the lot to pitch for 45 minutes. But in the interim, Warner Brothers, Lorimar, all the biggest studios were there. And I knew that I only had a few minutes to make my impact. But when I walked in the room and saw that prim lady across the table from me, I got so emotional. I mean, it was like meeting Mother Teresa. She looked exactly like she had on the poster. Her hair pulled back in a little bun, except when I was in 4th grade, it was black and now it was white. And she said, "Dear, if you get a chance to make my movie, what will you do? Why should I give you, an unknown, that opportunity?" And with tears pouring down my face, I said, "Mrs. Parks, I'll tell kids everywhere your story. I'll make sure your movie gets into every library." And I was ushered out because the time was short. And do you know, I got the call. The movie starred Angela Bassett and Cicely Tyson. It put me on the map as a young producer. And your story can do the same thing for you. Your story about ordinary things in your life can attract your tribe. It can help you have impact and influence. It can move audiences to action. Your story matters, just like Linda Sunshine West is sharing about. Tell your story. Yes, and I can help you do it. I have a 3-part strategy, the 3 Ds: discover, design, and deliver your story with impact. And don't be afraid to be vulnerable. I'll help you tell your story so that you move audiences and attract the tribe that's yearning to find you. Don't be afraid to be visible. Get the support of a Linda Sunshine West, or write your story, or an Yvonne Chotzen. That's me, YvonneChotzen.com, to help you tell your story.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yvonne. What I love about this story is that you took that step, right? So again, just like Victoria was talking, is taking that one step. You took that step that a lot of people would have said, "Oh, I probably won't get it, so I won't show up. I don't deserve it. I'm not as big as, the big guys," and all this stuff. You might have been comparing yourself, but you didn't do that. You took that step and you made it happen. And look at, like, everything changed once you made that one simple step. You showed them that, we just need to show up, and we need to show up as ourselves. Again, that message of knowing your identity, showing up as yourself, as that person that you are meant to be, and stepping into that. So thank you so much for sharing your message today here on International Women's Day. I appreciate everything you're doing. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible, incredible day today. I'm going to share just a little bit about my story because I want to, have an opportunity to speak here. Normally I don't. And I started thinking that, what, I should start sharing my message as well. Today, what I want to talk about is, gosh, I have so many stories to choose from to go. And today's messages were so pertinent to everything I want to talk about. I'm just going to, here we go. I'll start my own timer. Okay, so at 5 years old, I want you to remember when you were 5 years old, you were there as a girl. Maybe you were playing with Barbies, maybe you were playing with rocks and music or whatever it was. You're playing these different things. And at 5 years old, you make a decision. And this decision that you make may be a decision that you don't know how it's going to affect your life at that time. But later on, you're going to discover how that decision affected your life. Well, when I was 5, I decided to run away. And many of us have our parents there like, "Okay, have fun. See you later." They wish us well on our journey of running away. Well, I ran away and was gone for an entire week. Most people ask me, the first question is, "Where did you go?" And the place I went to was in a safe environment. I just went to the neighbor's house. So I was in a safe place. I was in this environment that I was being taken care of. I knew my neighbors. I was playing with my friend Kathy. We were playing Barbies a lot. And that's what I was doing as a child. But what happened from that situation is what would shape my life for the next 46 years. See, nobody came to get me. So I'm sitting there playing, having a good time, but nobody came to get me. So when after a week, my mom called the neighbor, my mom did know where I was, by the way, and she knew I was safe. So she knew I was going to be okay. But after a week, she called the neighbor and she said, She's been gone long enough. You can send her home now. So I came home and I came back to that environment that I was growing up in, a very volatile, abusive, narcissistic, gaslighting environment. That was why I ran away. But I came back into that environment and I ended up shutting down. That brave, strong little girl who ran away, who didn't have any fear of running away, came back home and I became riddled with fears. Shut down, not seen and heard. I didn't want my voice to be heard because the louder I was, the more I would be seen. I didn't want to be seen. So if we fast forward to my life at age 51, so 46 years later, something happened that would change the trajectory of my life. I took one step, I took one action, just like was mentioned by one of the earlier speakers. And that decision was to work with a life coach. Now, how I found out about this life coach is I was driving to work on my 49th job after 36 years in the corporate world. I was working for a judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So I made my way up that ladder that we want to make our way up through in business. And I was doing it. I was doing the thing. Like I was in this really prestigious position, but I hated it. Absolutely hated that job. So as I was driving to work that one day, something happened. I was, oh my God, I hate my job. I hate my life. I don't know why I'm here. I have no value. I have no purpose. There's no reason for me to be on this planet. That day, I ended up meeting a life coach. And she is the one who helped me to see that there is stuff within me that I have to share. I do have value. It is time for me to be seen and heard. It is time for me to share my message. It is time for me to grow. It is time for me to take that one step. And I started to do that one day at a time. Well, in 2015, I decided to do something a little bit crazy and broke through one fear every single day that year. That was the pivotal moment in my life where I made that decision and I kept going. Like I made the decision and I didn't let myself off the hook. That changed the trajectory of my life. Everything I'm doing today is completely different than what I was doing when I was 51 and made that decision to make those steps to move forward. You never know what's going to happen in your life. When you make one decision, it can take you on a completely different course. Be open to the opportunities. Be open to the possibilities. Just know that your life can be different. It can change for the better, for the better. So get yourself out there. You make that step, and you're not going to know where it's going to take you, but take that step and keep moving forward. So with that, I want to just thank all the ladies for being here with us. I'm going to spotlight myself. Thank you for being here on International Women's Day to share your message, your story. The impact that it's going to make on other people's lives is going to be so powerful. I want to really appreciate you all for being here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that was